Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are going to do a character guide on Queen. So Queen just got her Force and BT. I will not have her BT in the video, but we are going to show her off with the Force, Ultima Weapon, pretty darn like statted out. We just won't have the BT effect, which we will talk about. Now I will say this right off the bat, if you're not familiar with Queen, she's kind of like, she can play multiple roles. Like she can be a decent damage dealer. She can also be kind of like a support character. But if you want to use her for damage, you really got to have the BT, right? And I would say, like, to me, Queen, I don't think is a character I would want to rely on as my sole support character. So I would say if you're going to go for Queen, you probably want to just go for her as like another fun DPS option. But we'll take a look at her in this video, right? So we're going to look at her calls, her artifacts, and her spheres. So with her calls are just, like, I would say they're solid. Because they just carry a bunch of party buffs. So if you just want to, bring in a character, pop off 2 calls, and get a bunch of buffs, you can do that, right? So between her 2 attacks, you're going to get Brave Regen, Overflow up, Attack up, Overflow Stolen up, HP Damage up, and HP Regen up for the party. Now the HP Damage up is good, it's only 10%, so there are better HP Damage ups. But you do get like a lot of buffs. So I guess if you want to use these calls just to put a bunch of buffs down, you could do that. It wouldn't be my top tier type of call though, right? I really like the Rydias, the Raigens, the Rains. Like those are the really powerful ones. Even Luna Freya can still be pretty powerful. So just getting like generic buffs, I would say isn't the craziest. And if you're going for HP damage, I would go for like a 30% one if you can. But it's solid. It's something you can use, right? I definitely wouldn't chase her LD for the call. She's definitely not that type of character. Let's go ahead and look at her artifacts. So for artifacts, you want to go attack 108, upright intellectual up 2-star. So that's going to give her more max brave and attack. Being that she's primarily, I would say, a pseudo damage dealer, you want to kind of go with like the damaging type ones. And we're going to see what our damage looks like. It's going to be kind of fun. And then her spheres. A slot, pretty standard. You can go attack, brave damage, physical attack. So I think like ones like Noel and Raijin are pretty significant. One thing I will say too is if Noel does come, which he is expected to come this month, Noel's EX is something I'm really looking to pick up because he does have one of the better A spheres in the game, and I just never pulled for Noel, like ever, hardly. So I really could use some Noel spheres. So yeah, Noel would be a really good one you put there. I just threw down a Tifa. You could do a Sephiroth. It's kind of like just, it's pretty much pick of the month, whatever you want. As long as it's attack or brave damage or like physical attack, you're going to be good. Let me double check. Yeah, she's melee damage. So yeah, you could do a physical attack, which is, I believe, what Raijin is. And that could be a pretty good one, right? Then we're going to go D-slot. Just do any party attack up. I would say like her own is actually pretty premium. I think Cisne's another good pretty premium one you could use. I have Lise on there, Ash, Saz, Hope. Hope would be another good premium one, right? So Ash, Saz, Lise, Hope. Not Luna Freya because that's weakness damage. But yeah, go with any of these. Queen, her own. Queen is one that I always spot him off, and she's always one I forget to say. But yeah, her D slot is actually really, really good. So definitely one you'd want to do because her D slot is an attack and max brave up. So, and it's a very easy trigger, right? So she actually has one of the best D slots in the game. So definitely if you are summoning here and you get extra Queen EXs, I would hold those and use those to make spheres. I pulled a few, so that's really awesome. So I'm going to be able to make some more Queen spheres. All right, so with that, let's hop into the showcase. Let's see how our girl is looking tonight. We're just going to do a pretty standard, like I'm going to focus on Queen. We'll just surround her with Aerith and Rosa, kind of just let her go crazy. We'll just throw down, sure, we'll do like a max brave summon. That's fine. So let's hop in. I'm not really worried about the friend unit here. We just kind of want to see some numbers and see what she can do, right? By the way, you may notice I have a Crystal Room ability. So those just shadow dropped out of nowhere. I did drop a video on that if you want to check it out. And maybe during this video, we'll drop a Crystal Room ability. If I get deep into a Force time, maybe I'll drop one really deep just to try it out, right? So Rosa, sure, we'll pray a little bit, get a little bit of ramp going. Now, I'm not going to worry about trying to outpace these bosses. We just have to keep in mind that once they go into Force time, we only get like 1 turn buff. So we'll just keep that in mind, right? Actually, what I was going to say, if Queen had her BT, honestly, what I probably would do is just do like a Queen BT phase to help me like outramp the bosses, but that's fine. Sure, let's just go ahead and we'll do a Raijin prod, that's fine. And then we'll go ahead and we'll just drop down a BT effect. just to make Queen look good right away. Queen is a very unique character. She's a character like kind of like Gao, where like, and I think oh, what's his face, Zell does it too, where they go into these modes and they get locked into certain attacks, and that's how Queen is. It's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Like, the reason why it's a good thing is because her attacks are going to be very powerful. The bad thing is you don't get freedom over what you can do with her, because when you're locked into these attacks, that includes like calls and echo, and you just can't do them, which does take away a lot of her flexibility. Let's go into a, oh shoot, I was supposed to do the BT first. That's fine. We'll drop Healing Wind first, then we'll drop the BT. That's fine. We'll go out of order here. Let's go ahead and drop the BT, and then we'll get into some Queen turns. But the one thing I'll say about Queen is like her standard like 15 and 35 actually won't be that impressive, because they kind of like front loaded everything into her HP plus attacks, right? Which we'll get there. And it's kind of tied to the EX. So she is the type of character where you might want to do EX shenanigans with, like, say, a Bahamut summon, or doing, like, EX charging calls. Actually, that would have been smart of me to bring maybe a Shell call or something on her, right? Or we just had, what was it, Vice? I think Vice is the other one. There's another call that, like, instant charges EXs. It's one of the newer characters. I don't remember. Everything's a blur right now, you guys. All right, so let's just go ahead. We'll just go through the attacks. Let's do Speed Rush Thrust first. This is the 15. Let's see what the damage looks like. I'm expecting not to be impressed. Oh, actually, 1.8 is actually solid. I'll take 1.8. That's fine. It battery scaled on her Max Brave, by the way, and extends her buffs by 1 turn. So, no, that was actually solid damage for what it was. I'll definitely take that. Let's go ahead and we'll just drop an LD down here with Rosa. That is fine. The one thing I'll say with Queen, we're going to get to the FR. Her FR can do very impressive gains for just like a traditional like melee type FR condition. But the bad part is it's really bad to echo off of, because it's kind of has like a floor. Like you can't get crazy big gains on echoing, but it's very good gains for normal attacks, right? So the way I would kind of think of Queen's FR is hers is a good FR to use as like a first or like a secondary like mini FR phase where you're not blowing all out on it with all your echoes. Like if you're doing a tough 6-man fight, right? And you want to do like an entry like FR to maybe clear a side enemy or something, but you don't want to go all in right away. Or maybe the mechanics dictate that you can't just go all in with Astos and blow it up. You got to work your way through thresholds. Her FR is a good one to like work your way through thresholds kind of slowly while maybe not echoing with other characters just to get like an FR down. And then when you go into like where you really want to do damage, you might do a different character FR and then do the crazy echoes, right? So we'll kind of talk about that. Let's do Manosphere next. This is the 35. She doesn't get a lot of skill uses of it. Okay, about a mil AoE, so I'd say that's a little bit more standard to like kind of lower end there. So this is another battery scaled on Max Brave, AoE attack. She's going to get a couple of buffs called Scholastic Knowledge and Zero Class Tactics. So Knowledge is going to be an attack Max Brave up, a Brave damage up, and HP damage up for herself. Class 0 Tactics is going to be a party attack on Max Brave up, Brave gains up, Brave damage and Overflow gained up. Brave gain after HP attacks scaled on the attack. So it's going to help her, like, when she's doing multiple dumps, it's going to help her get the Brave higher so she can do more damage. And then she does get a Brave regen, also scaled on Max Brave. So Max Brave is looking to be a pretty good stat on her because she is getting a lot of battery on it, right? Let's go ahead and sure. Let's see if we can speed in here and maybe beat the... Oh, we're not going to beat the bosses out, which is fine. Alright, so we'll just go ahead. We'll drop the, we'll drop like an LD down here. Oh, we already did the LD, sure. Let's Divine Blast. We'll just try to, like, get as many buffs refreshed as we can. Because, well, like I said, once they go into FR, our buffs are going to fall off pretty quick. But it's fine. Alright. Sure, we'll just drop this. Hopefully they don't affect her overhead, but it might... That'll be interesting if they make her overhead only last 1 turn. That would actually be pretty bad. We'll see. Because this Queen... Oh, she's still away from her EX, yeah. I think, like, if you want to go into her, like, crazy stuff early, I do think bringing an EX charging call is going to be very good to help her with that. But for now, we're fine. We're kind of just going to continue and look through attacks. So next, sure, let's go ahead and we'll drop the LD down. This is Divine Judgment. Okay, about 1.5 mil AoE. That's solid damage for an LD. Sure, so right now her damage on her normal things are very average, right? But this does do a party heal. So this is where a little bit more of her like support comes in. So she does party healing. She does have battery, right? She does give party last stand, which we'll talk about in a minute. We haven't gotten to that part yet. But so she does do some nice support things. And what you're going to see is she is going to have some nice damage as well. So she heals the party, does the big AoE attack. Batteries the party scaled on the damage she does. And she heals the party again. So it has 2 heals within that. And then she gets a buff called Judgment Wave. Now this Judgment Wave could be very low. Let me just see here. Judgment Wave. Oh, I bet that's Wave of Judgment. Yeah. So that's only at 2 turns. So normally what would happen is this Judgment Wave would be 8 turns, but the enemy's FR like really hinders our ability to buff. But this does a Brave gain in between HP attacks. Party attack up, overflow up, HP damage taken down. So she's got a little bit of tank in there because you're taking 30% less HP damage for the party. And then HP regen for the party, and then that gives the party-wide last stand is this Judgment Wave, right? So we'll have to keep that in mind. So it's probably going to fall off because we only got 2 more turns of it, but that's fine. We will go ahead and sure, let's drop this down. And then I think on Queen's next turn, I mean, we haven't done the EX yet, but what I think we're going to do is we're going to go into FR since we've got it, and then we'll drop down the EX and then kind of show her shenanigans from there. So sure, let's drop down to Luminous Arrow. Okay. Holy Bladed up. I did see Paladin Cecil finally getting an upgrade on JP coming up. So that's pretty good for him. He's well overdue. Holy cow. All right, let's do the FR. This is called Put in Order. There will be no escape, and our boy Iggy coming along for the ride here. We'll take that. All right, so about 2 mil AoE. That's fairly standard on an FR damage. So let's talk about what this FR does. So, AoE attack. It does extender buffs by 2 turns. And then you get some damage limit up, which is nice. During the force time, the party HP damage and limit is up 50% when you do transformed HP or brave attacks, right? So this is where she can get a little bit limiting if you're trying to like not just like do the whole force through like her burst phase, is that you kind of want to use HP plus attacks with the party. And if you don't have the proper party members that like to get beneficial ones, then it's not as good, right? But listen to the HP conditions here, right? If you do a melee ability, it's 40%. And then if you do a transformed command, it's 60%. So like you can get on just a standard attack 100%. But here's the thing, echoing this is really bad because the best you can get on an echo would be a melee damaging echo, which is only going to net you 60%. And if you do something like Aerith, you're going to get the bare minimum 80. So it's a bad FR to echo on because it's impossible to get the 60% for the transformed HP plus command because an FR attack can never be that, right? So you're guaranteed you cannot get all the conditions on an echo. So that's one reason why she wouldn't be as desirable. But if you have a melee team with like transformed HP plus attacks, like her FR would be a really good one for like Machina to operate during a burst phase, right? Or herself, characters that want to use transformed HP plus attacks could be really good. Even Renoa, like when she gets the next upgrade, she does her Ultima, which is very powerful, right? But then you would want melee with her as well, which she isn't. But that's another story for another day. So let's go ahead and see. So right here with Aerith, right? Like if I do this, like I'm going to get the bare minimum 80. But we'll take it. We'll just do it. Because, I mean, why not? Why not just get the gauge rolling here, right? So sure, we'll take our 80%, our bare minimum. Okay, and then we'll just drop another one down. And then what we'll do is we're going to drop the Queen EX. And so a lot of her kit is tied to the EX, right? In terms of her damage. So in terms of what we're seeing right now, if you're thinking of her as a support character, it's kind of like Jill, where like you don't need the BT. I think what she's doing as a support character combined with her very standard damage is fine, right? But if you want the damage, you're going to need the BT. Once again, I compare her a lot to Jill. I feel very similar about these characters in terms of the way their roles kind of feel, right? So sure, let's just drop this. Oh, I forgot I was going to drop a summon. That's okay, though. I don't foresee these enemies doing anything too crazy to me. Yeah, you can see Aerith got like no percent on that, right? Wasn't made. Oh shoot, I'm an idiot. Because she actually has a decent HP plus attack, which is Steel Evil. We should have done that, right? So we can do aim though. So like both of these characters actually work well with Queen because Steel Evil, the HP plus attack is solid, and aim is actually very good, right? So let's drop an aim down. Well, I should be echoing, but just to show it, let's drop an aim. Oh, there you go. We got 63%, right? It wasn't considered melee, but we got 60% for the transformed attack, which is good. Now, with Queen, we're going to see it. So typically what you'd want to do is, you know, before you're ready to pop into this, you just want to make sure your EX is ready, right? So we're going to hit the EX here. This is a very important button, so let's pop it. Oh, also, she puts herself down to 1 HP, but she's in zombie mode. She can't die. So, well, this is like ultimate rage mode, and you'll see it's the glasses buff over her head. So when the glasses come off, or when the glasses come on, whatever way you want to look at it, when the glasses are out, she's going to be crazy. And what we might do, well, yeah, let's just, we'll do the transformed HP attack, right? So Seal Evil, this will get us 60%. Once again, if it was melee, it would be 100. But we'll take our 63, that's fine. We'll let these guys go. And then we're going to kind of look at the Queen Rage, right? Sure, we'll take that miss. That's fine. There's the... yeah. Alright, so Aerith, let's go ahead and show it Seal Evil again. That's fine. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay, so there is anti-synergy with Queen and Aerith that I should mention. Anytime you use a character that lowers your HP like that, it triggered Aerith's thing, right? So it triggered Aerith's BT, so we actually lost Aerith's BT effect. So that is a good thing to note, that if you like using Aerith, you probably actually don't want to run her with Queen, because Queen will literally pull her BT effect off, unless you time it, so that like you make sure you use the EX, and then you could drop Aerith's BT after. But once again, if you're using Queen as a damage dealer, you're going to want to be dropping the EX multiple times. So I would actually recommend not running Aerith with her, unless you're okay with her BT effect dropping off, right? Actually, we'll Echo here. Now, this Echo, I'm guessing, is only going to be like 23%. That's going to be my guess, because it's not transformed HP and it's not melee. So it should only be like 20-something%. But it won't, yeah, 22, 23%. But it won't waste a turn at least. All right, now we got Queen. So let's talk about the EX that we dropped last turn, right? So it reduces her HP to 1. She does a Brave gain. And then she does the AoE attack that we saw there. It extends her buffs by 1 turn. She gets the overhead for 3 turns. Now what this overhead glasses buff does is she gets attack up, Brave damage up, and HP damage up. She cannot be KO'd. It upgrades her Brave and HP attacks, and it locks out her other skills. And then when this effect runs out, she's going to heal back 50% of her HP. So there is a little bit of risk to this in that, you know, even though she can't die right now, the turn it runs out, she's going to go to 50%, and then she can die. So if it goes out and then it follows by an enemy turn, like, you can get caught. So you have to be careful with that. Probably want to run her with other healing just in case. Because her own healing might not be reliable, unless you say pop the LD right away on her next turn. Provided she gets a turn, you would be fine. But now what's going to happen is we're going to get these extra attacks. So if you look here, she's locked out of everything. I can't echo, I can't call, like nothing. You literally get the lunge attack or the devastate. Now typically what you want to hit is devastate. That's the more stronger attack. But we'll start with the lunge. The benefit of lunge is if you want to spam turns, because this is instant turn rate. So we'll hit the lunge. We did like 6 mil there, but you're going to look 100% on the gauge, right? So if you're doing transformed melee HP attacks, it's one of the best like standard gains in the game you can get without echo. It's very good, right? So sure, since we're in it, we have 2 turns of glasses left. Let's do it again. Okay. We got 8 mil on that one. Now we'll drop Devastate at about 700%. This one has 8 HP dumps. So this is the big one. This is the big daddy attack right here. Okay, yeah, 15 mil AoE, right? Once again, though, I could see Queen is being a little wonky to use because she's so, like, locked into this gimmick, right? So it's like, when I think about Queen, she does some good support stuff. She does some good damage stuff. But in reality, there are other damage dealers that are just simpler to use that I'd rather use that do it better. And there are other supports that do that role better, right? So Queen can kind of be like a multitasking character if you want that. But I feel like I would recommend going into other characters, right? Now you can see we're back in normal mode. So I could go ahead and now I could echo. And then once again, until she drops her EX, you won't get those powerful attacks. So her damage actually won't be that crazy until you can get back into those attacks. But if you can pop off some Devastates, then you're good. So you might be thinking, well, how is she going to work really well? Because you can see right now, I'm just done and I got to wait for her EX to charge, right? Well, that's where the BT comes in. So let's talk about the BT, which I don't have, but this is very important. So the BT is going to do a big attack, right? The BT is going to refresh her glasses to 3 turns, right? So you would have that available. And then what's going to happen with the burst effect is your EX recast speed goes up 80%. So what that means is that she's going to come out of it and her EX is going to be up again almost instantly. And you can kind of just cycle through it. So it's going to allow you to hit that Devastate button a lot more. You're going to get Brave gains up. You're going to get HP damage up. You're going to get Brave damage limit and HP damage up. And the thing is they're really nice numbers, and they really affect like your Brave and HP plus attacks and your HP in your EX. It's really powerful for those, right? So there you go. That's Queen. She is a very interesting character, but I can see her as being a little tougher to use, especially for like newer players. So if you want like a simpler character, I would probably go for somebody else. I think Queen does take a little bit more finessing to use, but I think she also, for like skilled players or players that like her kit, I do see her as being like a very fun character to use, right? But I don't think I would recommend like most players go in and grab her. But she definitely can do some really good things. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Queen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.